to just walk into those offices and talk directly to the officers who are custodians of that information. Another important aspect as you think of your move is the value of not cutting corners. That is the value of trying to do things right. There always seems to be, you might want to do things a little faster. I have this guy who can expedite things. But generally you find that after you cut corners, those corners come around to bite you. And there's a lot of value in just doing things right. It might take a week extra, but in the long-term sense, it cuts money. Typically, I do see some people, even for vehicle registration, who do not want to walk across to NATS. You end up paying $1,000 for a document. You go there, it's $100 to get the document. But again, it is the value of this thing of quick. Just do things right, plan your time well. There will be business today and there will be business tomorrow. So that attitude of feeling that if you don't do it today, the opportunity will not be there tomorrow. It's not an attitude that will take you very far. I think you'd rather take a little more time and do things right. For most of the people who are in business, going to the next step, it will be about scaling up on the level of operations that you want to engage in. Madam Deputy Minister here talked about how subsistence we have always wanted to be. We have a lot of psychological barriers. For most of us, if we say, let's go set up in Mozambique, instead of seeing the money, you start seeing the problems of going to Mozambique. But practically, you will walk, go there, register a business, walk to the next person, sell them what you are selling, and you make your money. The level of infrastructure that, when I say infrastructure, the administrative infrastructure that you require to run a small business and a big business is by far the same. As I stand here, for us, we work in the Southern African space. That is Namibia, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Malawi. And I can assure you that the work, the effort that it requires to just run one country or business in one country is the same amount of effort it requires to run it in 2 countries, in 3 countries, in 4 countries. So the encouragement here is, as you set up or as you decide to set up, don't have that psychological barrier of imagining that the more the business grows, the more effort it will require. It is important to just set the structures and policies within your business. And after that, you should be able to run your business without necessarily feeling the pressure of being everywhere at the same time. Okay. In terms of, in the conference, I think there was a lot of, oh, this is not in place. Would want the government to put this in place. And it is important anyway to want more, to want better infrastructure, to want better ways of doing business, better ways of sending money, faster ways of getting approvals. But it is also very, very important to appreciate the current infrastructure and support system that is there.
What is stopping you guys? Yo.
Look, here what I wanted to comment, it's one thing to maybe not, at times we get blinded by what we don't have. When we're talking about sending money and all that, for example, if you go to your local banks here and you tell Bank Windhoek, oh, I would like to set up in a different country. There is a facility they have where they will ask you, how much will the investment be for that country? And you can do a budget of up to 3 years to tell them, to invest in that other country, I'll need X amount of money. And they will open almost like a rolling account there, where they'll allow you to send that much money as money for investment to that other country. Then after that now, again, when you start getting your dividends, they'll go back into that account. For international payment as well, from your letters of credit and all that, all those facilities are there. At times, we do not look deep enough to see what is there, but at times we look to see what is not there. So the encouragement here is, as we look for more, know that there is a lot that is within the current infrastructure. And as further justification to that point, look at how many multinationals come and set up and flourish. Why are they flourishing and not you? Probably it is that we are not having the right set of eyes. The opportunities are there. Mr. Dansule here has also scoped the trade differences that are there between the various countries. Again, it's all about the set of eyes we put as we walk around. It's all about what you see when you walk around. So, your banking sector, as much as you might feel like the Kenyan one is more advanced, I want to also confirm that there are a lot of products that your banking sector has that are very pro-business. And it only takes that one effort to dig a little deeper and engage these people and know what they have. Talking about environment, it's also different places offer different things. One of the greatest things that I discovered when I came here, typically how dry the place is, if you were to take somebody from Kenya and drop them here from the airport and tell them, I'm going to give you this as a fab, they'll beat you up. And they'll tell you, no, we don't want it. But again, if you look a little deeper and you see the animals that come out of it, the quality of your cows is way higher than what is out there. And somebody will ask themselves, what are these cows eating? But I don't think that's really what should concern you. What should concern you is, if these animals are looking this good, then it means there's something good about the land, isn't it? And so we have to be more appreciative of what we have, the current infrastructure, current structures, as we get into business. From a general outlook of the Namibian economy and what we see, it's a very formal economy. Somebody commented or said that, I think it was the mayor yesterday, that when he was in Kenya, every other corner will be a business that is owned by a local person. Here, the economy is still very formal, but looking at the last 20 years, there has been a lot of transformation. This is not, back when, I think 20 years ago, there were very, very few locally owned shops and businesses. But that is still growing. It is a process that takes time. But when we say that the economy is formal, that means that as you set up, again, you need to probably be very clear as to where you need to sell your product and how to package your solution. The way you package, the way you sell to a highly formal market is very different from how you sell it to a highly informal market. The touch points for a formal market and that of an informal market are very different. Even think of agricultural produce. The way you package your potatoes going to ShopRite will be very different from when you want to sell in Okuriagama. And that happens for every product that you are going to sell. Our experience as you go into maybe other countries, you'll find that a structure like an advertising structure that will be not good enough for, say, this country might be superb for another country. But again, it is the different levels of formalness or lack of informalness across the region called Africa that we operate in. And so Namibia is a highly formal market, and that I think is something that has its own positives and probably setbacks, because that's a limitation to entry in its own way. Your credit infrastructure is very good in the sense that besides having easy access to credit, the payment culture is also very good. I have in some countries whereby when it is end month, you need to go and camp, even in big corporates, like an equivalence of your MTC, that if you do not go and camp there, you will not get your check out, as opposed to this country whereby once you supply goods, you get paid. So that's a big, big positive.
Wow.
You see, so it's some of those things that at times as you think of whether to set up or not, look, it's a great country in terms of how formal it is, the good credit extension and all that. Whenever I travel, that question on what can we do in Namibia keeps coming up. And I don't know whether it's an easy question to answer. And I keep asking people, for example, if I come to you and ask you, I do advertising, what can I do in your country? I don't know whether you have an answer for me. Because you see, my eye is attuned to what I do. To digress a bit, our industry now, the traffic department is involved in approvals. And so I had a traffic officer who was our friend because he was one of the main contact person within the outdoor industry. Then after some years, he retired and opened a butchery. So every time I would go to his butchery, when it was still a few years from his retirement, we would really discuss advertising and all that. But after a few years when I went there, he told me, Peter, I'm finding it very, very difficult to keep up with that discussion. Because nowadays, all that I'm seeing are goats, sheep, cows. You know, when I drive and I see a cow, it catches my eye. Similarly for me, if I drive and I see a cow, it will not catch my eye. But if I see a wall, if I see an open space, it catches my eye because that's my industry. That is what my eye is attuned to see. I suppose, like the people in the financial industry, as they drive around, what they'll be seeing is how is the economy, how robust is it? So, as we try to do as we ask all those questions, my encouragement to anybody out there, and also in here, it is very, very important to travel and to travel with the right eye. If you're in the insurance sector and you come here, there is what you will see that I will not see. It will be two people seeing different things. So the whole idea is, it is very, very important to incorporate travel or discovery as part of our business fact-finding mission. Don't depend on what you read. A lot of the things, if you are to typically go with what the media says about a number of countries, it will be very, very difficult to even move from your mother country. Now that I know Namibia very well, there was a time there was a conference here in Windhoek, and one of the big international media houses, as we were talking about Windhoek, they were beaming on the suburbs of Katutura. And it was a great disservice that at times you get from media houses, that you are not zooming on even where the conference is happening. You are not giving people a representative picture of what the country is about. And that is the reason why, if you feel that you want to do something somewhere, travel and go see it for yourself. Go with the right eye. Try to set a few meetings beforehand of people who maybe can show you around or take you around, and visit the right government offices. 2 minutes, huh? Okay. this is not quite part of what I really wanted to, I would say that is part of my thing for today, but I thought I would put it out there for the people who are out there. That is more on the agricultural sector. In this country, we do have a couple of things which I extremely admire in the agricultural sector. Number one being good data. If you go to the website of, is it Namibia Agronomic Board? You will be able to get good history, say for the last 10 years.
Even 50.
Of what should be imported on which month.
Yeah.
That is data that at times you don't have out there. So as you're planning your planting cycles, you do it with a bit of science behind you. I had wanted to mention the issue of genetics as well, which the minister mentioned as well. The quality of animals we have here are of very good quality. And that is a big area that maybe we should look into. And now that I do have some limited interest in that, I was hoping that there will be still more people in the forum today to ask that question on what can be done to make it easier to send, be it your Boer goes from here, be it your Kalahari Reds across there. Uganda some years back had a fantastic program, government to government between themselves and South Africa. And I think government to government between Kenya and Namibia, that would be something that would be great if you can see it happen.
Yeah, the councillor will answer that.
Yeah, okay. Then I wanted to mention about the green scheme sectors. I used to import some rice from Kenya. We do have a premium rice called Bishori. It's more your basmati type, but as the currency, as the rand lost its value, the balance of it was very expensive to get the rice here. But the same we had engaged the government to plant for us in Kalimbeza, but the scheme did not go very well. And for us who are not, I'm not an expert in rice, but if you gave me the rice, I know where to take it. That is from a business perspective. So it's a great area of partnership now that in Kenya we do have the biggest rice schemes. So with the right partnership, you could get a few souls from that side and they are allocated on whatever terms or period or tenure that can transform some of those green sectors. And lastly, that Dan mentioned, I am the current chair of the SACCO movement, the SACCO Kenam SACCO. And within Kenam SACCO, it is what typically maybe the Southern African has been known as Stokvel, but it's a bit more regulated, more organized. We've been operating since 2017. We don't have a big membership, but we have quite a big savings base because we sit again with a bigger problem whereby we have more net savers than borrowers. But for you to borrow within a SACCO, you have to be a member and an active member. The SACCO is open to anybody resident in Namibia. Okay? So we encourage you to join us. But as you join, please join with a friend because it is on a peer lending platform. If you come alone, the next time when you want to take a facility, unfortunately, you might not find people to co-guarantee you because at times you are guaranteed by people who trust and know what you're doing. Because if you don't pay, their monies get garnished. Okay, so it's a peer lending platform. So don't come alone. Try to come maybe with somebody who probably you can regard as a friend, and with time you're going to make more friends within the SACCO environment. So I would want to end it was not supposed to be quite a speech, it was just supposed to be an overview. I would want to end it there, and thank you very much for the time.
Well, thank you. Yes, I was more clapping at what we have. And the other statement that you say travel with an eye that catches, or something that catches your eye. I once traveled to Liberia I spoke to assumingly, government people, and I took investors, Caucasians, which are white people, to go and invest into solar energy. Surprisingly, arriving in Liberia, everybody steals power from the power line outside. There is zero structure in place. Guess who runs the solar energy? The United Nations. Why? Because they funded something of solar, whatever. So whoever invests, I was just shocked, speechless, compared to where I'm coming from. Then guess what? The hotel where I'm based in, it's from owners are from Lebanon. They operate on a generator. Most of the time, the town is off. Monrovia, which is supposed to be the capital city. Then the other time, I'm standing, outside the hotel, and I'm looking at I'm like, why are they carrying AK-47 like outside the cars for? No, that's the president. I'm like, what? So the bonnet is white. The doors, one door is brown, another one is blue. I was like, wow. Sometimes you take things for granted here. And the entire road is just one from the airport running through. The others is just gravel. You don't enjoy us going to Academia, Rocky Crest, everything is tired roads. So we complain so much here because we do not travel. The more you travel, you tend to appreciate what the government has done. Yes, we can do better, but they've done fantastically, very well. And thanks to our colonizers in that sense, because we've got all the infrastructures in place. I can make a call freely. It's forever raining there. So you even struggle to have a decent WhatsApp conversation call. But when you come here, it's like I'm forever on the internet and I'm cool. So what Mr. Peter is really saying and alluding to is something that we gotta appreciate, and it's always good that it's coming from someone who left his country 21 years ago, came to find a second home here and make the best out of it. These are people that I appreciate. Why? Because I've lived abroad by myself without my family in the United States, so I know exactly how it feels to be a foreigner in a foreign country. And the tips that he's been giving, they're so profound. And it's something that we gotta learn from. And we learn every day. So thank you so, so much from my side. Any questions from the floor, please? And both, they've got the same surnames. So they're probably gonna tell us whether they're related or not. And we're gonna give both of them the platforms just to come and share from a business perspective so that I can just get your mind right. You might know him as a politician, but he's a prominent businessman. I'm referring to the councillor now. He's also going to take the podium and just share his experience being a politician into a businessman in Namibia. The same here, Mr. Kandorolu. That's how I'm playing with the same name now. He's going to do the same. Then thereafter, everybody, we want to know what you do so that we can network. We also take the podium just for 1 minute. I'm so-and-so, I do so-and-so, and then we're going to network. Thank you so much. Right there, there's a question there. Oh, sorry, you was first.
My name is Simon Nicodemus. I just have a question. It was actually for the gentleman that was there before you. The first thing that I want to know is the amount that you are mentioning. Is it in what currency is it? Like what Sako? The amount of money is mentioning a number of 15 million. In what currency is it? And then the second question is on is it registered with NamPower? It's called, because it's some
members. Those are people that are trying to start Kingdom Bank.
No, not for Kingdom. The Sako. No, the previous guy, but I think they are the same. He's also mentioning it now. He's
because of the savings that you have, so that we know how much can we borrow.
No. I'm asking what currency is it? They are only saying 15 million. He only stayed.
See the US dollar, Namibian dollar,
Yeah.
kwacha.
Okay, I can answer because I listened to him. What he was talking about the 15 years, he was giving a background of the Cooperative Bank of Kenya.
Yes.
And the Cooperative Bank of Kenya, it is all formed by 15 million member circles combined, not money. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Because I'm trying to
It's members.
And the other one is now SACCO, is also regulated by NAFISA.
No. The circles in Namibia, and that was also something that Madam Deputy Minister was saying. She doesn't know how it got that misplaced. It is regulated by the Ministry of Agriculture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that is part of the bigger issue that you are feeling that we always have, because whenever something has to happen, at times Bank of Namibia is not sure, but it is under the Ministry of Agriculture.
Under cooperatives.
Under cooperatives.
How do you ensure me that if I have to invest that $10 that I have, it's in good safe? It's a heavy, it's a record.
The governance structures around the cooperative. Yes, the governance structures around the cooperative, it is there in place. The Ministry of Agriculture does have a directorate that deals with that. Every year, they usually do an audit where they'll come out, number one, besides just looking at the books, no money is supposed to be transacted outside the bank account. So for us, we've been running for, I've been the chairman now for the last 3 years. Would certainly tell you that you will never find any cash transaction. So the board is elected by the members. The members are the people who are saving within the circle. So you, the savers, appoint your officials. To be an official, you also have to be a man with people who are saving. So any decision that you will take, it will affect your money as much as it affects other people's monies. Then it's a peer lending platform, meaning that the way it starts is that you come with a friend, meaning that like the people who are with there, it has been growing very organically. To give a background, in Kenya, where the population is bigger, you find every company will have its own circle. Let's say NamPower would have its own circle. And it works very well because there is a common bond. But like in our current situation here, we do not have a common bond. And this is Peter who works for so-and-so, that is John who works for so-and-so. So our growth has been more organic because it cannot be the same as if NamPower decided to set up a circle and they say, okay, every employee will become a member and all that. So it's a peer lending platform. You come with a friend.
How much is the balance, the savings?
There are a few billions in case you want to come and join us and borrow, because as we say, our bigger problem that we have more net savers than borrowers. So that becomes our headache. We try to encourage members to borrow more. But unfortunately, the members who are there, they are more net savers than borrowers. So it's a bad position for the circle.
The largest amount that you borrowed was how much? How many millions?
You can borrow up to 4 times your savings.
On my personal saving.
On your savings, yes. For example, you can save within the first 6 months, you can borrow after 6 months. If, for example, you have put, say, 50,000, you can borrow 200,000. The process of borrowing is also not as laborious as the bank, because within 2 days you'll get your answer. So that is the beauty about some of these structures that exist.
But what is my investment? How do I benefit? Let's say I invest in, I put in 100,000. Do I get revenue out of that? How does it go about for me to get? How do I get my interest? Me as an investor.
For example, because now we are sitting with that problem of having more money than we need, we usually invest it in a money market account. Again, where we put money is regulated. It has to be almost zero risk investment because it has to be guaranteed that you don't lose any member's money. If a member puts in 100, at no point in time should you invest in something that is risky, that can turn that into a negative, right? So yes, you will get a better return than your normal savings account because it will be in a money market account that will be managed by the bigger funds that you have here. And that's where we put the money. But the other benefit that accrues is that member who borrows the money, he's going to pay interest on his loan. That interest is an income to the circle. So, like for the last 2 years, we have been declaring dividends on or a payout on interest based on now the monies that have been made from loans given out. So, a circle makes you, it's almost like owning a bank. But the difference is that the mindset has to be right. It's a savings mindset because you only get based on how much you save. You save, you get 4 times what you save. You need to be guaranteed by other members. There's core guarantee. So, for example, within the circle, if you have the other members of the circle, you will need to come and say, fine, look, I'm looking at doing a project in this and that. Would you please guarantee me? A minimum of 3 guarantees are needed. Okay, so for example, if you're taking the 200, yours is 50,000. You need, there are 3 people to guarantee the 150. And what happens is that should you not pay, now you're going to go to Comrade Councillor who guaranteed you, and the other person is your friend of the other person, and that money now will come from being their savings to go to your loan repayment. And that is why it's a peer lending system.
Okay, so can I ask something here? So you first need to, is it a monthly thing or it's a once-off payment that you invest in?
No, it is a monthly.
Okay, so for instance, let's not talk about the 50K. Okay, let's just calm down. 5,000, 5,000, so it has to be for 6 months.
No.
Before I can
minimum, yeah, you have to be an active member for 6 months before you can borrow.
Okay, so 5,556 makes it 30, right?
Yeah.
So, and then 3 times, so it's going to be 90. But then, if I want more than the 30, I can't get it. It has to be that amount that I can get.
Yes, it's up to 4 times. So it will be 30 times 4.
Okay.
120. It can't be more than that.
Okay. And then the interest rate of paying back is how much?
At the moment, it's 10%.
That's very high. We want something like 6, you know. I'm
Don't
just saying
worry,
that
the benefit is that amount will still come back to you at the end of the year.
the 30.
Remember that you paid an interest of certain percent, but now that has become the income to the circle.
Dividends.
Yes. So when the dividends are declared, that money will come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now the 30, if I want to exit, I'm allowed to exit.
Yes, you get it back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
The circle I was talking about in Kenya.
No, here, the one here.
We mentioned something in circles. Oh, sorry.
Here.
Yes.
Is the circles under the Ministry of Agriculture here in Namibia?
No, under the cooperative.
It's a cooperative.
Yeah, it's a cooperative.
Local.
Yes.
Register with the Ministry of Agriculture.
Or register with the Ministry of Agriculture. Okay.
It's run by Kenyans, but
Okay.
it also.
I get you.
In fact, part of our in the board there is an Namibian lady who is there.
There you go.
So it's good. Namibians do qualify.
But we need to come
As long as you stay in Namibia.
We need to come as
as a group.
As
You
a
can't
group.
come alone. You can't come and join alone.
You can join alone,
So-
but the problem would be, the day you want to take a facility,
Yeah, you can't.
and nobody seems to really trust her. You know, we want to be comfortable that this man I'm guaranteeing will not take the corner.
Okay, my counselor, let the hand up. And then you can come with the mic also.
On the cooperative, Do you know that there is 80% security or collateral value of agreement provided by the government? Meaning, let's say, now the problem I'm aware also, everything that I buy, I value with a cow first. So now we want, like cooperative want to buy cattle, 10 to each member. It's 2 million. Let's say 1 million. Meaning you go to Agribank, so the cooperative will bring 200,000, give it to Agribank. The 800,000, Agribank have government collateral value. It will buy the cattle from Yan Family or whatever farmer, and the cattle will be distributed among the members. Then we need to collect the money from the members to pay the loan back to Agribank. Do you know that process?
Yes, we've been made aware, though we're also informed that, now ours is a savings, the circle stands for Savings and Credit Cooperative. So it's not an agricultural cooperative. So the AgriBank one was more for agricultural cooperatives, which we are not. And thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you. Councillor, please. Thank you.